Hello everyone and welcome back to Lilymation, the channel where we dive deep into classic literature and uncover how these timeless stories from the past serve as stark warnings for our present and future. Today, we're tackling one of the most influential and chilling dystopian novels ever written, George Orwell's 1984. Published way back in 1949, this book paints a horrifying picture of a world dominated by total surveillance, absolute government control, and the manipulation of truth itself. But there's the question that's keeping many of us up at night in 2025. Is 1984 no longer just fiction? Are we already living in Big Brother's world without even realizing it? In this video, we'll explore exactly that by identifying 7 undeniable signs that Orwell's nightmare has become our reality. Before we jump in, let's see the stage with some essential context. George Orwell, whose real name was Eric Arthur Blair, drew heavy inspiration from the totalitarian regimes of this time. Particularly Stalin's Soviet Union and Hitler's Nazi Germany. He witnessed firsthand how propaganda, censorship, and state surveillance could crush individual freedom. The novel follows the protagonist, Winston Smith, in a superstate called Asenia, specifically in Airstrap 1, which is essentially a future version of Britain. This is a society where every aspect of life is monitored. History is constantly rewritten to suit the ruling party's narrative, and even language is weaponized through newspeak to limit rebellious thoughts. Orwell's genius lies in how he weaves these elements into a cautionary tale that's eerily prophetic. We'll break this down step by step, starting with a detailed summary of the plot, then analyzing its themes in depth, and finally drawing parallels to our modern world in 2025. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's uncover the truth hidden in these pages. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our future explorations of books like A Brave New World or Fahrenheit 451. Lilymation. Alright, let's dive into the heart of the story with a comprehensive chapter-by-chapter breakdown and thematic analysis. Part 1 begins by introducing us to Winston Smith's dreary existence in Airstrap 1. He is a low-ranking member of the outer party living in a rundown apartment block called Victory Mansions. Right from the opening lines, Orwell sets the tone of oppression. It was a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. Winston works at the Ministry of Truth, which is ironically responsible for propaganda and historical revisionism. His job to alter records, newspapers, and books so that they align with the party's ever-changing version of reality. For instance, if the party declares that Asenia has always been at war with East Asia instead of Eurasia, Winston must go back and correct all evidence to the contrary. This is where we first encounter the telescreens, omnipresent devices that not only broadcast party propaganda, but also spy on citizens 24/7. You can't turn them off, they're always watching and listening, much like the modern smart home cameras or always-on microphones in our devices. As Winston navigates his daily life, we see the pervasive paranoia. Posters of Big Brother with the slogan, "Big Brother is watching you," are everywhere, instilling fear and loyalty. Orwell introduces key concepts like doublethink, which is the ability to hold 2 contradictory beliefs simultaneously and accept both as true. Think of it as a form of enforced cognitive dissonance that keeps the population submissive. Winston starts to rebel in small ways, like keeping a secret diary where he writes, "Down with the Big Brother," an act that could get him vaporized, meaning erased from existence. We also learn about the proles, the working class who are largely ignored by the party because they're seen as harmless, and the inner party elites who live in luxury. Moving into deeper analysis, Doublethink isn't just a plot device. It's a commentary on how totalitarian regimes manipulate psychology. Orwell, influenced by his experience in the Spanish Civil War and observing propaganda during World War II, shows how Newspeak, the official language, is designed to eliminate nonce and make thought crime impossible by reducing vocabulary. For example, words like freedom or rebellion are phased out or redefined. Compare this to today's trends where complex ideas are simplified into memes or emoji-only communications, potentially limiting deep discourses. Part 2 shifts gears as Winston's rebellion escalates. He meets Julia, a fellow outer party member who works in the fiction department. At first, Winston suspects her of being a thought police spy, but she slips him a note saying, "I love you," sparking a forbidden romance. The relationship becomes a symbol of resistance. In a world where sex is regulated and love is seen as disloyalty to the party, their affair is an act of defiance. They rent a room above Mr. Charrington's antique shop, believing it's a safe haven without a telescreen. Here, they indulge in some small luxuries like real coffee and sugar, remnants of a pre-party world. Symbolism abounds. The glass paperweight Winston buys represents fragile beauty and the past, which is later shattered, mirroring the destruction of their hopes. Enter the Brotherhood, a supposed underground resistance led by Emmanuel Goldstein, the party's designated enemy. Winston and Julia are given a book allegedly written by Goldstein titled The Theory and Practice of Algorithmic, I don't know the spelling, collectivism, which explains the societal structure. Endless war keeps the masses in poverty, and power is maintained through hierarchy, inner party, outer party, and proles. This book within a book is Orwell's way of critiquing real-world ideologies like fascism and communism. O'Brien, an inner party member who poses as a Brotherhood ally, recruits them, but this turns out to be a trap. The betrayal is heart-wrenching. O'Brien reveals himself as a loyal party operative. In the chapter breakdowns, the early sections masterfully build paranoia thoughts, Winston's internal monologues, and the constant threat of arrest. The middle chapters introduce romance and hope, humanizing Winston and Julia while exploring themes of individuality versus conformity. Julia's pragmatic rebellion, focusing on personal pleasures rather than ideology, contrasts with Winston's intellectual quest for truth. The symbolism of Big Brother evolves here. He is not just a figurehead, but a godlike entity, perhaps foreshadowing today's AI overlords or cult-like political leaders who demand unquestioning devotion. Finally, Part 3 delivers the gut-wrenching climax in the Ministry of Love, where re-education through torture occurs. Winston is arrested and subjected to physical and psychological torments. O'Brien oversees his cure using electric shocks and starvation to break his spirit. The Information Room 101 is the ultimate horror. It contains whatever the prisoner fears most. For Winston, it's rats placed in a cage strapped to his face, forcing him to betray Julia by screaming, "Do it, Julia." This betrayal shatters his resistance, and he is released as a broken man, loving Big Brother in the end. The novel closes with Winston sitting in the Chestnut Tree Cafe, fully brainwashed as the telescreen announces a victory in the endless war. Thematically, Orwell delves into the erosion of truth. Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. This ties into language control via Newspeak, which shrinks vocabulary to prevent dissent, similar to how modern slang or algorithmic content curation might dumb down public discourse. Other symbols include the party slogans: war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength, which encapsulate the inverted logic of totalitarianism. Orwell's personal inspirations shine through. His time at the BBC during World War II influenced the Ministry of Truth, and his health struggles, he died of tuberculosis, I think, shortly after publication, and a layer of urgency to the narrative. In extended analysis, consider how 1984 critiques not just dictatorship but any society drifting toward authoritarianism, including democracies. The prose apathy mirrors modern voter disengagements, and the 2 minutes hate, a daily ritual of rage against enemies, echoes today's polarized social media outrage cycles. Now that we've thoroughly dissected the novel, let's bridge the gap to 2025 and examine those 7 signs that 1984 is here. Sign number 1, social media tracking. Your algorithm curated feed isn't just for entertainment. It's a digital thought police monitoring your likes, shares, even dwell time to predict and shape your behavior. Platforms like TikTok and Instagram use AI to feed you content that reinforces echo chambers, much like how the party controls information flow. In 2025, with advanced tracking via cookies and facial recognition, it's telescreens on steroids. Sign number 2, the proliferation of fake news. Just as the Ministry of Truth fabricates history, we're bombarded with alternative facts and misinformation campaigns. Think of deepfake videos altering speeches or events, Orwell's rewritten records in real time. Recent examples include manipulated election footage that sways public opinion. Sign number 3, cancel culture as a form of vaporization. Disagree with the prevailing narrative? You might be cancelled, deplatformed, jobless, and erased from digital spaces. While not physical like in 1984, the social and economic exile echoes the party's elimination of dissenters. Sign number 4, smart devices constantly listening. Alexa, Siri, Google Home, these are modern telescreens, always on and recording. Reports in 2025 reveal how data from these devices is sold or siphoned, invading privacy under the guise of convenience. Sign number 5, failing data privacy laws. Despite regulations like GDPR or CCPA, breaches and loopholes abound. Companies harvest vast amounts of personal data, often without true consent, mirroring the party's total control over information. In 2025, anonymity is a relic. Sign number 6, AI rewriting history through deepfakes and content moderation. AI tools can generate or alter videos, photos, and text, effectively changing reality. Museums and archives are digitizing, but who's to say they won't be edited? This directly parallels the ministry's historical revisions. Sign number 7, polarized politics resembling ink socks one-party rule. In 2025, extreme divisions fueled by algorithms creates us versus them mentalities, with leaders demanding loyalty akin to Big Brother. Events like ongoing global tensions and populist movements amplify this, where dissent is labeled treason. Real-world examples abound. TikTok's For You page dictating trends, deepfake scandals in politics, and surveillance capitalism as outlined in books. In wrapping up this deep dive, it's clear that George Orwell's 1984 isn't just a story. it's a blueprint for vigilance. The signs are all around us in 2025, from pervasive surveillance to the erosion of truth. But knowledge is power. By recognizing these parallels, we can fight back, advocate for stronger privacy laws, question our sources, and protect free thought. If this video resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe to Lilymation for more in-depth literary analysis. Drop a comment below which sign scares you the most, and don't forget to pick up a copy of 1984. It's more relevant than ever. Thank you for watching, and remember, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. See you in the next video.